The first quarter of the 21st century was the most turbulent period in the history of motion picture technology. The digital revolution didn't arrive politely, it conquered. Since then, the repeated industry narrative has been that digital is superior, and film is a dead format. But the reports of film's demise have been greatly exaggerated. In 2026, film is constantly sought after by thousands of filmmakers, not just auteur low-budget indie hopefuls, but big-budget studio tentpole producers. Film didn't just survive, it won Oscars, and lots of them. But why? Today, we don our black ties and walk the red carpet as we take a look at 3 movies that illustrate the past 20 years of film at the Oscars. Hey everyone, I'm Andy the Vintage Filmmaker, and welcome to my channel. We recently crossed the 5,000 subscriber mark, so we have a lot of reason to celebrate here. I don't even know 5,000 people. I'll probably never meet 5,000 people in my life. So thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you're new here, don't forget to leave a like on this video and share it with a film fan. Be sure to check out my merch store too and grab something you like. It really does make a huge impact helping to release more videos more often. Remember, I'm not sponsored in any way, and everything you see here is because of your generous support. So, thank you. And now, may I have the envelope, please? Thank you. Very real person. And the Oscar goes to film? Now, when I was entering the production world in the early 2000s, it seemed that every month some new camera technology was being unveiled, promising to revolutionize cinema. Forget 4K. The fact that we could just shoot in a digital format was exciting enough. It seems quaint now, but features like the ability to shoot at 24 frames per second progressive was in fact a huge deal. Nowadays, nearly any digital camera supports 24p. Shoot, even my smartphone can shoot 24p. But as early adopters invested in camera companies, there began to grow a stubborn resistance. As I talked about in a previous video, I'll never forget my course director in film school making the claim that film's not dead, it's video that's dead. Yes, that is a dead-on impersonation of him, by the way. As we in the low-budget world welcomed the democratization of affordable cinematic technology, motion picture film was becoming phased out. The single biggest contributing factor was nearly all down to distribution cost. In a digital video ecosystem, you no longer have to pay for tons of physical media to be shipped back and forth, which is especially significant for wide theatrical release to thousands of theaters. Consider that before the digital conversion, even if you shot a movie completely digitally, you still had to transfer it to film to screen in theaters. This clearly wasn't a sustainable practice, and the writing was on the wall. Year after year, digital productions took over until film, it seemed, had vanished entirely from the movie-going experience. But did it really? Now, despite what you might have heard, the fact is, since the broader digital takeover of the industry, if you look at the last 20 years of the Academy Awards and movies that were either nominated for or won Best Picture, Best Cinematography, or both, they're all dominated by celluloid movies. Don't believe me? Here's the list. Oscar winners that used film include Crash, Memoirs of a Geisha, The Departed, Pan's Labyrinth, No Country for Old Men, There Will Be Blood, Slumdog Millionaire, The Hurt Locker, The King's Speech, Inception, The Artist, Argo, 12 Years a Slave, La La Land, Oppenheimer, The Brutalist, and Anora. Beyond that, nominees include The Wolf of Wall Street, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Hateful Eight, Silence, Dunkirk, Call Me By Your Name, Black Klansman, The Lighthouse, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman, Marriage Story, and Little Women. And of the 10 nominees for Best Picture of this year's 98th Academy Awards for 2026, half of them were shot on film. Begonia, Sinners, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sentimental Value. This doesn't even include all the Oscar-nominated films in other categories that are also primarily shot on film. And outside of the Oscars and big studio pictures, forget it. Today, on average, film represents 3 out of 5 or about 60% of the industry's top award winners. Between 2025 and 2026, film usage experienced a huge resurgence, particularly in high-budget features and prestige television. Right now, we're living through nothing less than a celluloid renaissance, comprised of a diversity of formats, everything from Super 16 to 35mm anamorphic to huge 70mm IMAX. Even long-thought extinct formats like VistaVision have been resurrected, with not one, but 2 Best Picture nominees for this year having shot on it. So, for once and for all, let's stop saying film is dead, and let's bust the myth that nobody uses it anymore. If that sounds a bit like a personal gripe, that's mostly because it is, as nearly every single time I mention my love of shooting on film, the first response I get is, does anyone even still shoot film these days? Yes. Yes, they do. But why? Why didn't film die? It wasn't because of industry holdouts like my film school course director. The simple answer is it was because of filmmakers. Now there's a reason that not every film is shot on film. It's inconvenient. Compared to digital, it's expensive, less flexible, and fraught with technical difficulty. But for all the benefits of digital production and distribution, celluloid is an opportunity to go back to basics and be included in the authentic craft of filmmaking. Long before anything reaches audiences' eyeballs, the impact is discernible. There's a preparedness and a discipline on set, both in front of and behind the camera. Although it's not a straight apples-to-apples comparison, generally speaking, film is the gold standard, inherently retaining a higher resolution than most digital camera sensors can capture. It's the difference between a sensor assigning light values into percentages that arranges pixels in a finite grid, to film using silver halide crystals, creating a randomized, fine-grained structure on a molecular level. While digital sensors hit a wall where bright light simply clips out, film's wide dynamic range offers a graceful highlight roll-off, preserving details you would lose otherwise. To a cinematographer, celluloid isn't just a format, it's chemical magic.
Film is actually a medium that is kind of alive. When film comes back, things has happened that I could not control, and it is something that actually adds to how you enjoy the material.
The real impact, though, isn't confined to the image itself, but to the psychology of the cast and crew on set. With only minutes per magazine, every time the camera rolls, it carries financial and creative weight. It forces the cast and crew into a state of heightened intentionality that often results in a more focused performance. Movies are, first and foremost, a performance-based medium. When you're shooting film, it's not by accident. There's a motivated choice behind it that suits the story a filmmaker is trying to tell. Stories like
Fire in the hole!
When Kathryn Bigelow and cinematographer Barry Ackroyd began prep for 2009's The Hurt Locker, they made a specific technical choice that defined the entire soul of the film. They would choose to shoot their movie on Super 16mm. In an industry where 35mm film has long been the standard, and digital was the rising star, cheaper, half-sized 16mm film was often dismissed as a student or documentary format. But for a gritty story about the high-stakes world of an EOD squad in Iraq, it was a perfect solution. Choosing 16mm maximized their already tight $15 million budget. Ackroyd could run multiple lightweight Aton XTR cameras simultaneously, often hidden or tucked away into tight corners, capturing a massive amount of footage that felt observational and urgent. Because 16mm has a smaller frame size than 35, the grain structure is more pronounced, stripping away the traditional movie polish and replacing it with raw volatility that made tense scenes feel tangible. That commitment paid off, as it led to one of the biggest upsets in Oscar history. This low-budget 16mm underdog went up against the most advanced digital 3D spectacle ever made, James Cameron's Avatar, and won. When Bigelow took home Best Director and Best Picture, it wasn't just a win for her story. It proved that sometimes authentic storytelling and honest imperfections can be more compelling than the most groundbreaking and expensive visual effects. A 16mm movie film is still the best value when shooting film, even more bang for your buck than Super 8. Even I, a humble, no-budget YouTuber, can afford to shoot some of my films on 16mm. Aton 16mm cameras were again used for some of the shots in 2016's La La Land. But the primary choice of cameras was the incomparable Panavision XL2, one of the most advanced 35mm movie cameras ever made by one of the most legendary camera makers of all time. The camera is praised for its ergonomics and versatility, making it a top choice for many modern productions today. The system provides HD camera taps for live feeds and instant playback. For La La Land, director Damien Chazelle and cinematographer Linus Sandgren chose to shoot the Panavision format to match the vibrant energy of a classic Hollywood musical. Paired with Panavision's widely sought-after anamorphic lenses, the format provided the wide, sweeping field of view and unique lens characteristics that defined the 1950s scope era. The physical nature of the medium also influenced the production's rhythm. Since each magazine of film holds a finite amount of footage, the long, single-take dance sequences required a high level of focus and intentionality from the entire crew to pull it off. The commitment to the craft clearly resonated, as the film earned a record-tying 14 Oscar nominations, with Sandgren taking home the Academy Award for Best Cinematography. It served as a high-profile reminder that film is still adapting with modern times, including the most advanced format of film still running, IMAX.
The way a film camera records light onto its emulsion, that's as close as you can get to the way the eye sees.
While many see film as a static technology from the past, the production of 2023's Oppenheimer proved that it's still very much an evolving science. Christopher Nolan and his cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema wanted to shoot the film's objective timeline in black and white, but they wanted the massive scale of 18K equivalent resolution of IMAX 15 perf 70mm. But there was just one problem. That particular film stock didn't exist. Kodak had to custom manufacture the first ever 65mm black and white film stock specifically for this movie. Because this new stock had a different physical backing than standard color film, the team at IMAX actually had to re-engineer the internal pressure plates of their cameras to prevent scratches and exposure artifacts. This was a high-level engineering project that resulted in a level of monochrome detail and depth that the world had literally never seen before. Nolan's use of IMAX also challenged the idea that large format film is only for spectacle. By developing custom macro lenses, they brought these massive cameras just inches away from the actors' faces. They treated the human face like a landscape. When Oppenheimer swept the Oscars, including Best Cinematography and Best Picture, it served as a massive milestone. It showed that when a filmmaker chooses film today, they aren't just looking backward. They are actively pushing the medium into its most advanced era yet. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying film is superior to digital. In fact, film only survived by learning how to live inside a digital ecosystem. It's not so much one versus the other. It's the marriage of both technologies that make it possible. Now, studios have also seen that there's a value in mentioning the gold standard of film quality if a project has been shot on film, even incorporating that message into their campaigning and release strategies. For example, tickets for opening weekend IMAX screenings of Christopher Nolan's next release, The Odyssey, went on sale a year ahead of its July 2026 release date. They are, of course, already sold out. Many movie insiders are taking notice to this trend, and some are saying this is a turning point for the industry. Nolan's films proved that premium formats didn't just have to be for action spectacles. The Brutalist and The Smashing Machine are character-driven dramas. Sinners and One Battle After Another have genre elements, even though these aren't summer blockbusters. When audiences know these films were captured on film, and are available to watch projected from film, it becomes event cinema. And when you're competing with streaming platforms, it really is about what makes a movie different in the digital age. It seems like there is a momentum building in how film and premium formats like IMAX might reshape the industry. There's a whole new generation of filmmakers who are passionate about this medium because it's something different than what they grew up with. What I truly love about the current state of film is that it's accessible to anyone who wants to be a filmmaker. Right now, you can go online and order Kodak Vision 3 in a variety of formats, the same exact film stock that Academy Award-winning movies are being shot on. If it's good enough for them, why not your movie? If you're a filmmaker who's curious about film, I highly recommend that you learn it. Not because it's some superior way to make movies, but because it changes how you think about shooting. Not to mention, you might really enjoy it. As a lot of modern entertainment tries to flatten everything into scrollable content, film remains stubbornly physical, authentic, and instantly cinematic. Amid any industry doom and gloom, this defiant trend shows that there are still people out there who really care. Both filmmakers who want to make something special and audiences who want to see something special. Although technical achievements can be impressive, all people really want at the end of the day are emotional experiences. And that's exactly what cinema provides. That's why it's not going anywhere. That's why if film can help draw audiences back to the theater, then it'll be worth it for everyone. I want to say a really quick thank you to everyone who's been supporting me and helping me reach this milestone of 5,000 subscribers. I don't even know what to say, you guys. You like me. You really like me. I also have to give a huge shout out to Mike Brady at Ocean Liner Designs for recently recommending me to his community. That kind of recognition means the world to me, so thank you so much, good sir, truly. And thank you to anyone who subscribed recently because of his recommendation. Hi, welcome. It's great to have you here. If you want to shoot film and look good while doing it, head to my store and grab yourself something stylish. This is the most direct way to support me and I truly appreciate it. If you'd like to see your name in the credits at the end of each one of my videos, well then please consider becoming a channel member here on YouTube or on Patreon. Don't forget, I depend entirely on your support to make everything you see here. So, thank you. Well, that's gonna do it for me, folks. I'm Andy, the Vintage Filmmaker, and until next time, here's to seeing a little more vintage in our movies. What? Film was the incomparable, the best Academy Award. What? It was like this. Oh, I can't believe I invented the atomic bomb. Where's Albert Einstein? Don't get me wrong! I felt like I really had to scream that. Didn't like it. Nah. Didn't like it. Do it again. Truly. I'm not wearing a hat! I was gonna doff my cap! For the record, no, this is not my real hair.